yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. The purpose of life is not to be happy, but to be virtuous. Patience is bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Courage is the first of human qualities because it is the quality which guarantees the others. Happiness depends upon ourselves. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. He who has overcome his fears will truly be free. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living differ from the dead. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. Hope is a waking dream. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. The aim of art is to represent not the outward appearance of things, but their inward significance. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. The law is reason, free from passion. Man is by nature a political animal. Friendship is a single soul dwelling in two bodies. The antidote for 50 enemies is one friend. He who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. Wishing to be friends is quick work, but friendship is a slow, ripening fruit. Dignity does not consist in possessing honors, but in deserving them. The high-minded man must care more for the truth than for what people think. Pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work. The best friend is the man who wishes me well for my sake, without regard to his own advantage. Without friends, no one would choose to live, though he had all other goods. The ideal man bears the accidents of life with dignity and grace, making the best of circumstances. Wit is well-bred insolence. The soul never thinks without an image. Good habits formed at youth make all the difference. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. The good of man is the active exercise of his soul's faculties in conformity with excellence or virtue. The end of labor is to gain leisure. He who cannot be a good follower cannot be a good leader. The young are permanently in a state resembling intoxication. The life of the intellect is the best and pleasantest life. All men by nature desire to know. Happiness is a state of activity. The more virtuous a man is, the more he will enjoy true friendship. Poverty is the parent of revolution and crime. The ultimate value of life depends upon awareness and the power of contemplation rather than upon mere survival. Happiness belongs to the self-sufficient. Greatness of spirit is to be calm in the face of misfortune. We make war that we may live in peace. The secret to humor is surprise. The worst form of inequality is to try to make unequal things equal. The energy of the soul is the essence of life. The weak are always anxious for justice and equality. The strong pay no heed to either. The high-minded man must be content with fewer friends. Education is the best provision for old age. Character may almost be called the most effective means of persuasion. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. Friendship is essentially a partnership. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. The gods, too, are fond of a joke. The soul never thinks without a mental image. The most perfect political community is one in which the middle class is in control. The law is order, and good law is good order. Democracy arose from men's thinking that if they are equal in any respect, they are equal absolutely. The virtue of justice consists in moderation, as regulated by wisdom. The greatest virtues are those which are most useful to other persons. Good laws, if they are not obeyed, do not constitute good government. The end of the state is the good life and not mere life. Mothers are fonder than fathers of their children because they are more certain they are their own. It is best to rise from life as from a banquet, neither thirsty nor drunken. Happiness is a sort of action. The quality of life is determined by its activities. All human actions have one or more of these 7 causes: chance, nature, compulsion, habit, reason, passion, desire. Wicked men obey from fear, good men from love. The best friend is he who in wishing me well wishes it for my sake. A friend to all is a friend to none. He who has many friends has no friends. The most useful piece of learning for the uses of life is to unlearn what is untrue. The aim of the wise is not to secure pleasure, but to avoid pain. The great mind is happy to learn from everyone. Happiness is found in doing, not merely in possessing. The good of man must be the end of the science of politics. The proof that you know something is that you are able to teach it. The wise man speaks when he has something to say, the fool when he has to say something. The soul never rests, it is always in motion. The high-minded man is indifferent to good or ill fortune. The young have exalted notions because they have not been humbled by life or learned its necessary limitations. The law is reason unaffected by desire. The happy man lives well and does well. The virtue of courage consists in facing danger with confidence. The ideal man takes joy in doing good to others. Man is the only animal capable of reasoning. Man perfected by society is the best of animals. He isolated is the worst. The roots of justice are in reason, not in power. The soul is the cause or source of the living body. The law is reason without passion. The good life is the life of virtue. Education is the ornament of prosperity and the refuge of adversity. The aim of philosophy is to know the causes and principles of things. The greatest thing by far is to be a master of metaphor. The greatest crimes are caused by excess, not by necessity. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. The whole is more than the sum of its parts. The good for man is an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. Learning is an ornament in prosperity, a refuge in adversity, and a provision in old age. The weak are more likely to be vindictive, the strong more likely to be forgiving. The ultimate good is happiness, achieved by living a life of virtue. We cannot learn without pain. The beginning of reform is the recognition of corruption. He who delights in solitude is either a beast or a god. The wise man chooses moderation in all things. The law exists for the sake of the good, not the powerful. The highest form of human excellence is to question oneself and others. Virtue lies in our power, and similarly, vice lies in our power. The worst thing about slavery is that it corrupts the master more than the slave. The unjust man seeks pleasure without measure. The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding. The city is a partnership in living well. We should behave to our friends as we wish our friends to behave to us. A friend is another self. The end of man is not knowledge, but action. The virtue of justice is a mean between doing injustice and suffering it. The good ruler governs not for his own sake, but for the sake of the governed. The greatest of all virtues is wisdom, for it directs all the others. The aim of every action is some good. The worst form of injustice is pretending to be just. The good man is one who rules himself well. Man becomes virtuous by practicing virtue. Education is the best safeguard of liberty. The middle way is the safest path. The life of virtue is the life most in accord with reason. The just man does all things for the sake of what is noble. The unjust man does all things for the sake of what is base. The highest activity of man is the contemplation of truth. The greatest crimes arise from excess, not necessity. The ignorant man affirms, the wise man doubts, the sensible man reflects. The best life is the life of virtue in accordance with reason. The aim of education is not only knowledge, but also virtue. The law is an expression of reason. The wise man seeks to live in harmony with nature. The fool lives for pleasure, the wise for virtue. The good man takes more delight in doing good than in receiving it. The unjust man takes more delight in gaining than in giving. The noblest life is the life of virtue. The best measure of a man is how he treats those who can do him no good. The purpose of the state is the good life, not mere survival. The philosopher lives for truth, not for wealth. The greatest good is to live according to reason. The law is the safeguard of justice. The unjust man is always at war with himself. The just man is at peace with himself and others. The good of the many outweighs the good of the few. The happiness of the community is greater than the happiness of the individual. The life of pleasure is for beasts. The life of virtue is for men. The wise man seeks to understand causes, not just effects. The ignorant blame others. The wise blame themselves. The best minds are those that love truth. The unjust soul is full of disorder. The just soul is ordered and harmonious. The highest aim of life is the contemplation of the good. The law educates by commanding what is right. The unjust life is one of misery and strife. The good life is one of balance, virtue, and wisdom. The wise man delights in simple things. The fool seeks wealth, the wise seeks virtue. The good man is self-sufficient, yet delights in friends. The unjust man is never truly free. The philosopher is the lover of wisdom. The highest good is happiness through virtue. The soul that loves truth is immortal. The wise man fears dishonor more than death. The good man is measured by his actions, not his words. The unjust man is a slave to his passions. The aim of the good life is happiness through reason and virtue. The wise man sees the eternal in the fleeting. The good ruler rules for the sake of his people, not himself. The unjust ruler seeks his own advantage above all. The soul is perfected by virtue and wisdom. The good life is the life in accordance with reason. The philosopher lives in pursuit of truth. The unjust man lives in pursuit of pleasure. The soul that is virtuous is free. The soul that is unjust is enslaved. The just man brings order wherever he goes. The unjust man brings chaos wherever he goes. The wise man listens more than he speaks. The fool speaks more than he listens. The greatest good is to live in accordance with virtue and reason. The unjust life is short of peace. The good life is rich in peace. The wise man values truth above honor. The fool values honor above truth. The aim of law is justice. The aim of virtue is the good life. The aim of wisdom is truth. The philosopher seeks causes, not appearances. The fool seeks appearances, not causes. The just man seeks harmony in all things. The unjust man sows discord in all things. The wise man delights in learning. The fool despises learning. The greatest happiness is the life of virtue. The greatest misery is the life of vice.